Welcome to the podcast, Nick and Ben. I am so excited to have you. How are you two doing?
Great, Calan. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm really excited to dive into the world of Toronto creatives and what you two do and all the amazing things that we get up to. So let's just jump into it. Can you tell me more about Toronto creatives and what you guys actually get up to?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Toronto Creatives is a video production and marketing agency in Toronto, obviously. We do a lot of good stuff, a lot of content creation, a lot of photos, videos, and of course, we help our clients capture the not only capture the content itself, but also help with placement, with promoting. So we basically come as um, I would say, creative partner to companies and individuals as well, and help them create great visuals.
Nice.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of visualization and you guys work a lot in video. So, to some extent everybody is using video these days. Like you can't open your phone and not see video. How can companies actually utilize this and do it better than they're doing it right now?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I think statistically, like 70% of the internet right now is video. YouTube is like the number two website in the planet. Um,
We're
yeah,
making a video right
we're
now.
making a video right now. You're watching us on video. This is content. So that is something that we're all exposed to all the time. How can companies do it better? The thing is, with social media specifically and any kind of entertainment really, when we're watching TV or anything like that, what we're doing actively as human beings is trying to be entertained. So that's why Hollywood has so much money. That's why, TV production has so much money, because people pay to be entertained, or well, they don't pay to be entertained. Well, in some cases like Netflix, they actually do pay to be entertained. But essentially people want to be entertained. So if you can interject your commercial, because that's the worst part about being entertained. It's always been the worst part about being entertained since like TV was invented, was the show stops and now you've got to watch a commercial. So if you're scrolling on TikTok, same kind of thing. Oh my God, now I've got to watch a commercial. And I know for me, like as soon as I see that sort of like click here button come up, I'm like, oh, it's a commercial, skip by. But at some point, sometimes when you're doing that, you kind of want to watch it through because you didn't realize that it was a commercial right away and you started getting into it. And then even though you know it's a commercial, you're like, okay, I'm going to watch this through because it's actually feeding my entertainment value. And that's what those are the companies that are utilizing these platforms and video in a good way, because they are taking the end user and saying, you're the most important thing. We're going to entertain you. Also, here is our product, rather than here is our product, let me jam it down your face.
And I will add to that. If we're talking about video altogether, why we like it, it's just because the nature of people, we like moving images, we like watching, we would rather watch something than sometimes read or sometimes listen about something. We understand that it's all like different formats, but statistically, video is much more heavily used everywhere, and that's why we can see all the trends of different companies that they switch, and that's why we see the rise of TikTok, but not as well as like other platforms who offer maybe like just photos or some kind of information or some kind of like audio content. What was the other one? Like
Clubhouse.
yeah, Clubhouse. So we saw that become very, very viral and very interesting because of the feel and the clubbiness of the Clubhouse and all this kind of stuff. But it didn't last for that long because we still go back to the usual content consumption. We do like visuals.
Yeah.
Also, video provided something that we can't really see otherwise is like a little bit of insight in somebody else's life. So that's how we can see what people live, and as people, we actually drawn to people, and that's a shocker sometimes, but it's true. We do like watching people, do like talking to people. That's why even when yes, definitely entertainment is an important part, but also sometimes we just need to kind of see and connect.
To connect with somebody, absolutely.
Somebody,
Yeah.
and we also connect with somebody who we see each other
Hmm.
with or in their situation, something like that. So we relate to people by seeing ourselves in that same situations. That's why video is so representative. So you can totally see yourself in that situation doing exact that thing, or you want to live that life, or you want to be, part of something like that. That's why video,
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
We're drawn to story. And with Clubhouse, it was definitely a flash in the pan, but also it hit right at the right moment because it was the time frame we all know about. And so people were looking for something more creative to do, something interesting, something different, but it didn't have that extra, like you couldn't see the people, you couldn't engage with them in that regard. And being able to see somebody and those facial cues and those other things are also important. And I want to talk more about the commercial aspect because I'm a huge YouTube user. Like I have YouTube on my TV, and I would say the most things that I use on my TV are Netflix and YouTube app. For sure. Those are the two things that I watch the most. And then I have like Amazon and like a couple others. But the biggest thing that I hate, and I've hated it since this kid, commercials, right? But on YouTube, especially when those commercials come on and they're so bad, I'm just like, oh my God, this is going to be the longest 30 seconds of my life to wait for this commercial to go by. But what you said, Ben, about sometimes you don't recognize that it is a commercial or that it is an ad, I want to talk a little bit more about that and how people are doing it wrong and how people are doing it right. And what you think the people are doing it right, what is that magic sauce in it today?
I think there's a couple of ways to go at that. And just to expand on that actually is an interesting point. So I, for instance, I watch Prime. I'm ashamed to say that. But I don't pay for Prime. So I actually watch commercials on Prime, and they're as now targeted to me locally. They're not targeted to me as personally as Google is, because YouTube is part of Google and they know me inside and out. And all of us. But they now are putting like localized commercials on streaming platforms like Prime. So sometimes you can watch a show on Prime and you're going to get like the latest Estee Lauder commercial, and it's going to look great and it's going to have that TV style, and maybe it's entertaining, maybe it's not, but it'll certainly be quality. And then the next one is like for some a lawyer in like Richmond Hill, and it's just absolutely painful to watch because it's like, wow, this is like I'm watching Prime tele, like I'm watching Prime, Amazon Prime right now, like, and you seem to have produced something on your iPhone 6. Like, is everything okay? Can I get a wellness check? Um, so yeah, I think again, so there's two kind of schools of thought to answer your question. I think quality is very important as far as advertising goes. I think it's very entertaining and easy to watch somebody do something silly in their living room, and it's hilarious, and maybe their dog jumps off something. We all love it. Like we all see that organic content all the time. And then you get to those commercials that are kind of trying to be that. And those are tricky to pull off in a really good way because the video quality is low. You're not connecting to the person because you know that they're trying to sell you something. So if you can get somewhere in between those old Ford commercials like that, really like when commercials had a lot of money behind them, they looked beautiful, and that high level commercial and entertainment and at a sort of personal level, that's the sweet spot that we found works really well. So we like to see high quality video, high quality sound. It's incredibly important. Sound is wildly important. It's if you think about it and you watch streaming services, you'll notice that the video will always cut out before the sound because it's most of like people will listen to something prior to kind of being able to see it. Like they prioritize those things. But if you're watching something with beautiful video and this sounds like, oh my God, just get it out of my ears, turn it off. It's terrible.
Hmm.
So yeah, so high quality video, high quality sound, a level of entertainment. We like to see people's faces. We like to when we're dealing with a business, like one of our biggest things we like to talk to a business about when they're talking about content is like, why don't we, first step, why don't we put you on camera and talk to you about your business? And it'll, it's going to be a nice, beautiful two-camera setup. It's going to be in a nice studio. It's going to look great. You're going to look pro. You're going to be, entertaining to watch. Um, it's a nicer feel.
Yeah.
I hope I'm
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
as eloquent as I should be
Yeah.
for a
No, and
Yeah.
I
Let's
podcast.
see what
even
Nick has to say.
Yeah, no, I will even augment. We usually talk like that when summarize and augment each other. And what Ben is trying to say, definitely, it is a lot about the quality, and the high quality content is actually being prioritized by platforms. If we talk about, social media advertising, if we talk about YouTube, even TikTok and Instagram right now, the platforms are straight up like high quality content will be prioritized over other content because that's what people value the most. And yeah, algorithms, they live their own lives and they kind of know what to do, so they analyze. So there is an assumption that even algorithms figured out that the higher quality content is ranking better, the retention is better, it's the watchability is better, the rewatchability is better. So that's another important thing. So yes, quality, important. The second thing to me personally is very important. What's very important is the story. Without the story, basically it's nothing. So you can do whatever you want. You can do like, nice visuals and stuff like that. And if you go to YouTube and like type in some kind of cinematic visual, cinematic film about, I don't know, Bahamas or something, you will see it and it's going to be great. You'll watch it for 5 minutes and you will probably get bored, even if the visuals are fantastic or incredible or something like that. You need this dynamic, you need this information that's coming along the video. Why am I watching it and what's happening there? This is the very deep in our like core. We grew up listening to fairy tales and figuring out how it works and stuff like that, because there is always this formula of hero's journey everywhere that has to be implemented. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You have to open the something, you have to have a hook, you have to grab the attention. When you have the attention, you have to bring that character that's going to travel through this like little journey and come back with changed essentially. So that's kind of the hero journey in a very, very kind of short way how it works. And that is something that we can't stop watching. We just need to know what's going to happen. We just need to know how it's going to end. Um,
We need that final
resolution. We
resolution.
need that resolution. Otherwise, it's just something that is like, oh my God, I can't. Like, I'm just gonna feel uncomfortable all day without knowing. That's how we get. That's how all trailers are put together. That's how,
Hmm.
like for movies or whatever. That's how we get announcements of some kind of like upcoming content. I don't know.
Even I would go as far as to say like that's even how shows hook us season to season.
Yeah,
They bring us right up to the point of feeling satisfied,
but not quite.
but
But
just not quite.
they
Yeah,
don't give you the
yeah,
payoff.
They
I'm
don't.
glad you brought
yeah.
up story because to equate this for my entrepreneurs out there who are listening, I think of this when I'm putting together a pitch because I've seen a ton of pitches and the ones that stick with me weren't the ones that told me this is my business and this is what I do, because everybody always does that when they get up and pitch. When I pitch, I tell my story of why I became an entrepreneur because that is more interesting. Just personally in my life, I have issues and medical issues and other things, and that kind of drove me to become an entrepreneur. And so in my pitch, I use that story, and the amount of people that come up to me afterwards that want to then find out more about what I do because I don't answer those questions in my pitch as to where that story went. Like I don't like I'm a medical mystery still, and they are left on that cliffhanger so that afterwards they're like, okay, they don't want to ask me about that, but they still want to know about my business because I've created that cliffhanger for them of like, I need more from this experience. And that's where I found the most success in my pitching is kind of creating that and telling the story about, yes, what I do, but why I do it. And it's led to such success instead of just being like, hey, this is what I do. Here's my pitch. Because everybody does that. You need to have that hero's journey. You need to have that excitement that other people can connect to or connect the dots to. Like, I don't experience this, but I know somebody who has that creates that emotion and that feeling inside of them.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And
Just
what?
one sec.
Goes then tight.
Thank you.
Good.
So go ahead, Nick.
Um, yeah, no, I was gonna say that absolutely. And even I find sometimes even with me, when I start talking with people, people start looking at me and analyzing because they hear the accent, but they can't figure me out right away. And I've been very cautious about sorry. I've been very self-conscious about that, and kind of, sometimes it was a like huge hang up and I wouldn't go and I wouldn't like talk to people and stuff like that. And now I find it even a little bit advantageous because it creates like a floor of mystery around you and like, who is this person? Why is he speaking? And like, what is he talking about? Like, this is different. We haven't heard about that. And it works for me. And this is where we try to do something like that with our clients when we put together videos for them. What is this that like little thing that is so much different about you? Because every person is unique and every person and every story is unique. And sometimes people say like, well, I don't have really like a fascinating story. You say that sometimes, which I fully disagree. And because everybody does, we just sometimes don't know how to explore that. We don't know how to come from it. And this is how it is good to have a coach or a let's say interviewers. It's good to have somebody who can interview you and talk to you about it, because you need this little kind of path to get to the point where you are ready,
Sorry, guys.
to get to the point when you're ready to that, like to answer those questions and to tell that story. And when we see, instead of just a person who is like talking about their business, because business is great, but also like one of our supplier diversity friends, Abokichi said, like business and doing business is oh my God, are you
Are you
No,
gonna be okay?
I don't.
are you dying?
Yeah, it's because I'm on camera. As soon as I'm on
Ben is
camera,
having
the
a
mic's
sneezing,
on.
having a giant
Yeah.
sneezing attack. Hilarious.
Okay, I'll try to wrap my thought, but the idea is this. Um, we do videos for business, right? And when people talk about business, sometimes it's not even like boring. It's just not fun because it's capitalism, it's money. It's like,
Icky.
yeah, we're just making money. Sure, you can like say whatever you want, but you just want money, right? But if you that's exactly to support the what you just said, Kellen. So when we have a story and the why we do that, and where is this passion? Is like, where is this passion? What is it coming from? Why is it making us this different human from everybody else? This is where we understand, oh, that's why. Because that's
Ultimately, consumers and everybody, businesses need something, right? Like they're gonna go out and they're gonna buy tea, or they're gonna buy. There you go.
I'm literally drinking
Um,
tea right now for anybody listening.
Excellent. I'll send you some tea. We've got a great tea client. Can I plug them? Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, everyone check out tsquared.ca. They're a Canadian tea company and they're one of our best clients and they're an awesome friend. But I will say like one of those things, like everybody needs tea, everybody needs toilet paper, everybody needs all those essentials of life, but and businesses need services, businesses need websites and video and consultation and public relations, and they need all of this kind of stuff. But
how do you
how
choose?
do you choose? So like if you know something and if you feel something for somebody and you can be like, I like Calan, I want to support Calan because I like him and I happen to need his service right now, I'm going to go to Calan.
And that goes along. So let's say right now we're working, just starting to work, just basically kind of got confirmed like yesterday and today, with our buddies, also diverse suppliers, Level Studio. I don't know if you know them, Luke and Vin. They haven't been long, but they
Oh
have been
yeah,
with
Luca
us.
and Vin. I love Luca and Vin. Hi,
Yes.
Luca
Luca
and
and are
Vin. I
awesome.
gotta get them on this podcast. I've been
Oh,
chasing
definitely.
them.
Oh,
I've been
they're
chasing them.
amazing. We'll
Yeah.
send you the video that we just did for them as well with the CGLCC. So that's one of the diverse suppliers that we filmed.
Excellent, excellent interviewees. Like,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
and at the same time, they're great guys. And that's the most important part because again, like let's say and Level Studio is a design firm,
Yeah,
right?
I just
So
recommended them yesterday to
yeah,
a friend.
yeah,
A friend on Instagram was like, "Hey, I'm looking for interior designers," and I was just like, "Oh, have you heard of like Luca and Ven? Like Level Studios, like they're amazing. They do great work, and it's because I like them as human beings and people,
exactly.
and that's what I
and
was
they
gonna
do great
say.
work.
Yeah, they oh yeah, do amazing work, but humans do business with humans, and I think a lot of
Absolutely.
people tend to forget that part.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And even part of that kind of idea, because we got together and we started talking, they want some video and they had ideas what videos to kind of like put together because they want to showcase the business and they want to showcase their services. They're two big services. So they do design consultations and they do basically design projects, right? Interior design as a bigger project. And they, of course, they want to promote those services. And we had to take it back and take a little bit of a creative touch on that. And we decided, you know what, we're gonna do this as a highly produced, like fast-paced kind of catchy commercial. When you see a lot of color, you see a lot of like action going on because you can show the business. But that particular other part and other video that we're gonna put together, we will take it to a documentary style. We want to walk with you, to your design consultation, sit down, have, nothing is super produced, not a lot of cuts, because we need to show you as people, because essentially that's the part that a lot of people forget. They need
Hmm.
to see who you are as a human. They need to see how you think, how you talk, how you behave, how you take. They need to see your creative change in your eyes the moment you realize, oh, that's what it's going to be. I love that, or something like that. So you know what I mean? So like that is something that I believe we're lacking, this
Hmm.
humanity, and this something in especially commercial world, because we are getting entertained a lot.
Hmm.
But do we know the stories? Do we know why we need to go with this form? Or is just flashy and we just got
Mhm.
used to it?
It's
You
the
know what I mean?
veneer. It's the veneer of this is the
Yeah.
shiny thing that I'm going to show you, but the actual story behind it. I think of this in the context of when I go to mixers and like business mixers and all that kind of stuff. I don't ever sign up for like quick dating or any of that kind of stuff because I don't feel like that works for me. That's not how I do business. I do business by being myself and being a human because I'm showing people who I am. And if you like this human being who I am, you're going to be curious as to what I do for business. You're naturally going to ask about it. And if it's something you need, you're already like, well, I already like this person. Why wouldn't I then think about them or ask that to do business with them? And to me, that is a lot more enjoyable of an experience to just do business that way, as opposed to being like, hey, I'm super excited to do business with you. This is what I can do in business, business, business. It's like, calm down. Like it's a little bit too desperate. And I think about this also in the context of books and book writing. There's a difference between an author who can tell the story but show you it as it's going along, as opposed to just telling you what's happening. You can
Mhm.
tell the difference between a well-written book and a crap-written book because I'm reading a crap one right now and I'm like, this is awful. But I have to finish it.
Is it Brittany's book?
No, no, no. It's I only read
Oh,
fantasy fiction. But in the book, it's just like everything is told to me. There's no mystery. There's no kind of like fuzzy feelings of getting to know these characters and these people. It's just this is what the story is. And I feel when people pitch their businesses or go to these business mixers, that's what they do. They tell you the story instead of letting you kind of have a bit of mystery and kind of figure things out for yourself and come along on the journey. Everybody's just like, here's all the things I want you to see, and I'm going to hide everything else because I think that that makes me imperfect. But I think that that imperfection is what makes us human, and that's what humans connect with. And businesses do business with other humans. People do business with people. If that all made
Absolutely.
sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
But
think, sorry, I just want to put this thought in
yeah.
there. I think because I've worked in advertising for more years than I would personally care to admit. Um, and it used to be about clever. It used to be about being clever and doing something clever that people would remember. And that's still a good tactic, and it's still a tactic that many businesses, many advertising agencies and production companies use. Be clever and people will remember it. And that's true, but getting to know somebody and like really getting a feeling for that, it goes beyond memory recall. It goes to an emotional level of recall. And that leaves you with this feeling of when you're confronted with that product. Oh, I remember this feeling that I had, and it was a good feeling, and it was like comforting to some extent. So I'm going to go with this service, with this product, because I know, as you said, like I know the person, I know the feeling behind it, I know what it is. It's not just trying to be clever to sell me something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And even to add to that, there is a saying that we most of the times it's not about when we get services or we work with something with somebody or the company or something like that. We remember not the actual like final product or something that we're getting. We remember how people make us feel. And if they make us feel good and they make us feel heard, which is also extremely important because sometimes, and I know you do coaching, right? Like you
I do business, yeah. It's part
yeah,
of what I do. I'm an SEO specialist. That's my focus, but I do coaching in regards to like right now I'm working with somebody launching their podcast. And a lot of that is the SEO setup, the technical setup. But on the other side of it, there's the coaching of like they're having troubles actually getting to record and like, how do I do this? How did that? Because they're up in
right.
here about it. It's like, the human side of it then comes in and it's just like, hey, it's gonna be totally a mess your first couple of times. You have to go through it in order to learn it. We can't master something
Yeah.
until we get there. So yes.
Yeah. So again, like in coaching, I'm also a certified coach. So I kind of like, I know I studied it. I don't coach myself like a lot, but I fully implemented everything that I learned into our interviewing techniques. And that's actually working like really amazing. But what I was going to say is that it is very important to remember that even when you want to give people expertise and help them do something because you have this expertise, let's say we have skills in video creation and stuff like that, we still have to listen, because if we don't listen, we're going to miss out. We're going to miss out on what people want, on what they want to, on that communication, what they are thinking about, what they're envisioning, and why. And you need to really go and walk with them along instead of just going into like, oh, this is what you have to do, blah, blah, blah. This is what the information is, right? Because when we do so and when we listen to people, we make them also feel good about that because we make them feel heard and understood. And it's much more valuable than the best product possible.
And
Like that's for sure.
that's where you get the best sound bites, like when you listen to somebody and they might just say a little thing in passing, and then you're like, "Ooh, that was a nugget. That was something that we should probably
Yeah.
poke at a little bit." And then
And
that's when you get them to open up as people, and that's when you understand this is a person living their life, and this is their business, and this is there's something to it. There's meat there.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
because
so for, oh, sorry, go ahead, Nick.
no, sorry. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say because even like sometimes you can talk to a person and they say like, let's say, why are you doing this business? You ask that question, right? Like, why is this business anything to you? And the person would say, well, I don't know. Like, I just happened to start it. It's a lot of money, or it's kind of nice and it's popular and blah blah blah. And then you can be satisfied with this answer, but also you can go, okay, but like, why? There are like a million ways to do the same thing, but why this one? Or if the person like, I don't know why this one. Okay, but why is it important for you to have a lot of money by doing this business? Why is it important for
Yeah.
you? Like not for everybody it is important. And the person would probably go, well, money will give me like opportunities, will create me like the life that I want and stuff like that. But why do you want this life? what is this behind that? Because there is always something, and then you will see the actual values, because there will be something about maybe family, maybe security, maybe there was a story in the person's life when they weren't secure in their life, when they weren't getting what they were going to get. And this is where they remember themselves. Sometimes they don't even know, they don't even think about it. They remember, oh, wait a minute, but that's why. That's why I'm doing that. So essentially, this is important to listen and to get to the bottom of the human story. And what I was gonna also augment you with talking about like storytelling and stuff like that, and how we get to the point when these stories have become like so drawn and we get connected. Now let's take a look at the biggest star on the planet right now, Taylor Swift. This is the biggest storyteller ever, and we can hear it through the music, through her videos that she's actually directing and creating, because she's the one who is creating this um, little world. Every song will be so descriptive of what's happening. It will be a lot of information, and she will draw this image and picture of what's happening. And visually, she will tell a very complicated and very interesting story with a lot of mystery, with a lot of Easter eggs everywhere.
And
And there you have it. That's why the popularity. It's not because, the music is so gorgeous, because she touched every single person she's talking to. She's talking to a gigantic audience, because anyone has experienced something through what she's saying through her songs. This situation, that situation, breakup, a not breakup, a love, or something, or some kind of achievement in their life or something. And because it's always gonna speak to somebody, people like her, and that's how she became so popular.
I'll add to that too. She puts, I'm not one to speak to the genuineness of this, but I fully believe it to be a genuine thing, is that it's not so for Lady Gaga, it's about art. And she's making her art, and that's cool and that's awesome to look at. Huge fan. With Taylor Swift, she puts a piece of herself in every single thing that she touches, whether it's her artwork, whether it's her music. You feel connected to her as a person. Um,
And
which is why I think like that's
and
why
that's the
she
keyword, connected to her as a person. That's all you
Yeah.
need to know. And that's going to be always in every piece of content that you create. If we can do it, it's going to be a good one.
I agree. I'm a Taylor stan. Like I think that her storytelling capabilities are so magical. And this thought is coming to me about the fact that she did get her start like in country style, and country style music tends to be more storytelling music. That tends to be the history of it. It's, this rough life or the whatever it is in the background. It comes from a genuine story. And so that has now grown into where she is now, where she still has those roots of storytelling through her music, which is what people connect to and what people attach to. And no matter what it is, there's a song for every kind of experience that you've had. And I love Taylor Swift. You guys clearly love Taylor Swift. We're Swifties. Woo. Because storytelling is one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
So to kind of bring things all together and wrap things up, if you were going to guide somebody on their branding today and implementing storytelling into their maybe more short form stuff, if somebody is kind of working on that, because TikTok and all these are taking over, short form is taking over, how does somebody infuse some of this part of storytelling into those shorter forms where you only have split seconds to really connect?
So let me say something about short form content quickly before we answer that question. So here's how short form content is popular. The algorithm typically will look at the percentage of a video viewed. So if a video is viewed for 80%, it's going to go above a video that's been viewed for 30% on average, the amount of time that it's viewed, right? The shorter forms of content, regardless of how good they are, literally you don't have time to skip by them. So you're almost always going to get to like an 80-90% view rate. So yeah, they say like short form content can be the future. I mean that we can say that, but also we've got to consider the watch rate and the retention rate. And again, it goes right back to the story itself, because the best content, in my opinion, is those 30-second, 1 minute pieces that keep you around. Because that's what's engaging the interest, and that's what's getting you through this like one huge minute of time while you're engaging with this story. So yes, short form content, absolutely. I mean, it can be fun, it can be funny, it can be terrible. It is what it is. I would say to focus less on short form per se and more on how do you keep your audience engaged for the full video? How do you produce something that is entertaining, that is touching, that is real, that connects with people? I would that would be my kind of advice
Yeah.
for social media content or any kind of advertising content.
I will go here with just a kind of a set of tips if you want like specifics of how to do that. Um, so first of all, yes, you're absolutely right. The shorts, they do tend to have like a longer retention rate because it's just shorter and simpler, and this is how we don't skip as fast. But I believe that it goes along with any kind of video. So I'm a big advocate of long form content, and I like YouTube, and I like my next kind of step, and then knows that I want to produce. I want to produce like a sit down, long form interview kind of show.
I
Uh,
love those.
that goes over an hour, which is really, really sometimes difficult. And North American YouTube, for some reason, doesn't have that a lot. So we have all sorts of like Vanity Fair, like 25 questions about nothing, like sure. But this, candid sit down interview about people and their, like, it's basically like we don't have a lot of that. We have
That's why
Oprah.
Oprah did so
Yeah,
well for
That's
so long.
just said we have Oprah, but Oprah also kind of, we just had a conversation about that she didn't come to that immediately. She became like that phenomenon later, and she is so successful because people are drawn to her. She's powerful.
She built the trust with her audience that they
Exactly.
knew when they came to watch that interview that Oprah was going to get them somewhere because they trusted her to
exactly.
guide that journey.
Exactly. But
Exactly.
how does she do that? Because people come to her show with already established rapport. They want to share. They want to talk about that. They're ready because they know that this is Oprah. Like this is who you talk to. However, I believe that you can do it backwards. You can establish rapport even on spot. You can open up a person. You can talk to them and present them. And everybody is afraid of that because it's going to be not entertaining, but it will be entertaining. This is gold. This is the key of content. Like I love that. I love telling people stories. I think everybody is really unique and deserves their story to be told. And the bigger the person on the show is, of course, the more attention they're gonna get. And to say a little bit about the short form content, I would say again, how do you keep people engaged? A, study storytelling. So take a look at what hero's journey is. Just take a look and infuse those key elements in all of this. You open up with a hook, you foreshadow, then you go into the story, and then you wrap the story and basically give this big release what you hooked in the beginning. So that's kind of easy. Second tip, don't have any dead space in between. Nobody needs no information, if you know what I mean. Like if there is zero, if there is nothing to say, if there is nothing to show, don't show it.
Got the fat.
If it's boring, just don't show it. Nobody cares. So, and of course, short form content, in my opinion, this is where you are not even allowed to do that. That's why it's a little harder sometimes to produce, that you need to be really aware and cut exactly at the moment when the action is done. Something is done, you cut. Something is done, you cut. And that's how you compound the storytelling in the short form. It still stays and still kind of goes through our the way we consume the content, the way we consume the story out of it. And probably, be genuine. Like that's create your own personality. Remember who you're talking to. And
And your
remember that you
why.
can't be somebody else. You can't be somebody who you're not. And that's kind of important to remember because otherwise it's not going to come across. We sense fake, we sense something that is not real, and we click out.
Yep. Yep. And if you're not
And
good at
you're mute for some
storytelling,
And now we can't hear
you can't hear me.
reason.
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
No, I think it's a mic issue of some
Yeah,
kind.
let me actually see if there's.
I
No,
think
that's a speaker issue. Okay.
It's a speaker
Yeah,
issue.
sorry.
Oh
it's a
no,
speaker issue for you. Okay, good. Because I was gonna say I'm pretty sure everything's fine on
No,
my
no, no.
no,
It's
no, it
side.
was on
but
our end.
the mic decided it's a mic and also a headphone and decided to I'm gonna be a headphone now.
Well, you know what? I think this is kind of the perfect ending to wrap things up because I was going to say if you're not good at storytelling or you don't know how to tell that everybody should go and look up Toronto Creatives. The link is going to be in the show notes for everybody so that you two can help people tell these stories, whether that's a corporate story or a personal story, personal branding story, all of that good stuff. I know that you two work in there. What else would you like to leave off with everybody for today?
Yeah, I would say don't forget that content is important, and we always say that the content is the name of the game, and right now that's our reality. Remember that video content will be always prevalent and be more important than any kind of other form of content. And if you want y- a bigger audience, if you want fans of your business, if you want like real Swifties of your business, this is where you need to start talking to people. It's important. So consider that if you're not doing that, don't be a polished and no face kind of very clean and beautiful business. Be a human. That's really important.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Be a human. I would like to also just say, like, you know that phrase, if a picture tells 1,000 words, a video tells a million, like that. I think that's a real thing. I think that's why people are drawn to video. It's easy to consume. It gets us on like so many different sensory levels. Um, and you can say a lot to a potential customer in a very short period of time. And you can give them a lot of emotion and a lot of information when you have their attention, and attention is a rare commodity these days. So go after it in a genuine way. And yeah, as Nick said, be yourself, be a person, because that's who we all are. We're just all people living on a rock, hurtling through space,
Yep.
Right? Trying to do
trying
the
to do our
best we
best.
can with what
Yeah.
we've got.
Exactly.
Awesome. This has been such a fantastic interview about storytelling and the power of storytelling, really, I think has been kind of the
Yeah.
overarching theme to today's interview. So I want to thank you both so much for coming on today and have a great day. Peace
Yeah.
out,
Thanks for
everybody.
Caleb.
having us. Yeah, that was really awesome. And that
Yeah,
was,
Caleb, thank you so much.
yeah.